George in Santee, California. You're on the air with Congressman Pocan.
Good morning, gentlemen. What I have to say is I have a lot of friends. I live down here in Duncan Hunter's district, and we're trying to get a Marcamp and a jar over the top down here, but it's difficult. I have a lot of friends that are working class friends, some of them union, some of them non-union, that I notice is being influenced by right-wing hate radio and a lot of these conservative fake news websites. And this being Halloween, I think the proper cautionary statement I have to them is that when you tune into these hate radio stations and fake news websites, you're dancing with the devil. And if you dance with the devil long enough, before you know it, you're right in step with him. I'd like your response to that.
Yeah, George, I mean, all they have is fear, right? That's all they're putting out there, this caravan. I've said, there is no caravan of transgender Nancy Pelosi supporters at the border, right? I mean, they're combining every little bit of fear they have in the last few days, trying to scare people into somehow caring and not looking at what the president's done around issues like separating families and a tax bill where 83% of the money goes to the top 1% and the big corporations and all of the attacks on health care. I mean, that's the reality of what Republicans have done in Congress, and now they're trying to run far, far, far away from that and scare people with all these little issues that you and I both know are not very real in the end. And I think we just have to make sure people understand that. Again, I think people do know what Donald Trump is about, many, many people. We need to get those folks out to vote to show who we are as a country, and I think any effort that people could put in, knocking on doors, making phone calls, using their social media, talking to their friends and family about these issues to make sure they early vote, because in many areas you can early vote right now, and you should, and then you can have time to help people get out on Election Day on Tuesday. It's going to really matter. So that's what I'm focused on, because I think the more Democrats, the more independents we get out, and fair-minded Republicans who are not happy with this administration and this Congress, we can have a successful Tuesday, November 6th.
Rob in Chico, California. You're on the air with Congressman Pocan.
Morning, Congressman. I am far from progressive as you can get, but I am sincerely want to be educated on what the progressives, if the progressives took leadership, what is their position on immigration, and specifically describe what happens when someone crosses the border at the Rio Grande, say, man, woman, and 2 children. What is the process? What would happen to them under progressive leadership?
Sure. So, Rob, first of all, there's a lot of fear out there, right? They want to tell you we want open borders. No one wants open borders. Right now, we're actually violating international law. I've been down to the Hidalgo Bridge, for example, in Texas, where if you come to legally claim asylum, there is international law that there's a process in place that you can claim asylum by going through a process. Doesn't mean you're going to get it, but you have to have access to the process. We currently are often violating that. I think what we would like to do is there is 2 sessions ago when I first came to Congress, there was a bill, not perfect, but a really good place to start, that was a bipartisan compromise that came out of the Senate with almost 70 votes, which is pretty much unheard of.
It passed the Senate.
It passed the Senate. It came out of the Senate.
Republicans and Democrats. Mitch McConnell
did not take it up under John Boehner and Paul Ryan's leadership. And because of that, we've gone nowhere in 6 years. So the problem is Republicans in the House stopped something going forward that would have had 2 things. One, extra protections at the borders. So all of this talk, we don't want a giant wall that cost billions and billions, but you can have and should have extra protections at the borders. But also we need to have a pathway to citizenship for the aspiring Americans who currently are here, because you can't neglect that 13 million people who are undocumented currently live here. We've got to figure out how to deal with that. And right now, instead, all we're dealing with is trying to tell you there's 3,500 people in the caravan who might in 6 weeks get to the border, so we're sending troops now, again, an election ploy to try to deal with it. The issues they're saying that we want to let people in to give them benefits, all the rest, it's so ridiculous that I'm surprised anyone actually believes it. But Donald Trump has done a great job in lying about this, telling you not to believe the media who are telling you the truth, and instead just listen to Donald Trump, because he'll tell you the truth.
People who are not citizens are not eligible, who are not here legally, are not eligible for any of these benefits.
It's so
they
ridiculous.
do pay their taxes, but they don't get any benefits.
But they don't get anything for it, so we get a net gain. But also, Paul Ryan, even yesterday, on a very rare occasion, you get this about, less often, you get about once a year from Paul these days, said the president was wrong on trying to do the birthright citizenship issue because it takes a constitutional change. And again, Donald Trump is lying about that. So let's have a better process for the people who are currently here. Let's protect our borders in a better, smarter way using technologies, but we can look at what they had just 2 sessions ago and work off of that and not have to go for all the fear-mongering that this president and the Republicans in Congress are putting forward.
It sounds to me like what you're suggesting is something very similar to what Reagan did in '86. And the one thing that Reagan, the one change that he made was prior to '86, if employers hired people who were not here legally, the employers themselves got busted. They could go to jail. They had huge fines. And as a result of that, the entire construction industry was well unionized. The meatpacking industry was, paid really good money, was well unionized. Reagan stopped enforcing that law. And no president since Reagan has started it. It's still on the books, but no president has seriously enforced that. And Trump isn't either. Everybody criminalizes the individual people who are, looking for a job, but not the employers who are hiring them. And so the construction industry has lost, it's become deunionized largely because of non-citizen labor. The meatpacking industry, same thing. In fact, they're running ads in newspapers down in Mexico looking for help for the meatpacking industry up in the upper Midwest. Wouldn't an important progressive part of that be to start enforcing those laws, putting white employers in jail instead of, brown workers?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, right now, this allows, not only does it hurt all workers because they're able to treat some workers differently, but also they're taking advantage of people because if you speak out, then you can be deported. So you actually, in some ways, have almost borderline slave-like conditions in places because the workers can't speak out. So again, and that hurts all workers. So there's a lot that we can do and we need to do, but we have actually a pretty good framework. We can go back to just a couple sessions ago, pass in a bipartisan way out of the Senate, and that would be a great start.
Yeah, and I should add, by the way, there's a fair amount of evidence that indicates that the reason Reagan stopped enforcing that law was specifically to destroy the unions in the United States. And sure enough, in multiple industries, that's exactly what happened.